Welcome everyone to Mirch Masala Marriage, the podcast where we share love, laughter, and spice up the topic that we are going to cover. I'm your host, Abhi.
And Raish.
We are married for 24 years. We are proud parents of two, and this little guy.
So today we are covering the most asked topic, why dating is so hard for Indian kids.
So please grab your nasto, dive in, and let's go for a ride. So last week we covered how we met, and we posted a story on our Instagram, and you guys just blew it up. We asked you which topic to cover, and this was by far the highly voted, I would say 80-20 split compared to the other topics that we give you. And everybody wanted to discuss about why it's hard for Indian kids to date, especially in US. That's what we are going to cover today. So let's dive into the first thing. The good old stories that everybody covers, like everybody tells, like whenever I try to go for movies, I get interrogated by parents. Have that happened to you?
I mean, not really in the sense, but I feel like, well, again, right, as a parent, and again, now I can see myself how I am now and before. When you ask your parents, hey, I'm going to go out with my friends, obviously the first question is, hey, who are you going out with? Who else is coming with you? And so on. And I guess if it's opposite gender, I feel like the question might be more, right? I think it's whether you want to do it or not. I think sometimes you feel like that just happens.
I see it this way, right? As a parents, like when we were dating, we never thought about this, right? Like why they're asking the question. The first thing is like, they're so nosy. They're asking the question. They don't trust us. Like all this question comes in our mind. But as a parent, like the thinking has changed. Like the reason parents ask this question is number one is the safety.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing. And a lot of kids, especially, young kids, in their early 20s or whatever the age they are dating, they think that the parents are way too nosy. And I don't think so that's the case. The case is the security is the
and
number
safety.
one thing.
Yeah.
Now, that can kind of turn into a quick argument between the kids and the parents because the kids will resist to give the answers. And sometimes I think they haven't built that trust between the parents, right? Especially for the girls. Like you can talk about the girls. I think the boys kind of gets the easy pass because they're like, oh, I'm going out with, I'm going for the movie and then I'm going with the friends. And I don't think so. Majority of the time the boys gets asked, who are you going with? Or even if they ask like, I'm going out with my friends, the parents don't specifically ask if there are girls coming. But if it's a girl, they would usually ask, who are you going with? Is there any boy coming? And if the boy, do we know him and whatnot? I think that's the biggest difference between a boy and a girl when they go out for a movie, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's how it starts.
Mm-hmm.
And you can definitely cover the female part. Like when you told your parents, hey, I'm going out with, I think your parents knew me, so that was a little bit different.
I mean, again, I guess for us it was different because we always hung out in the group, right? And group, when I say group, it was obviously like both, right? Yeah. Both the gender. It wasn't just like only girls and boys, and everybody kind of knew each other. So I think I felt like it was easy. It wasn't too hard. Like I haven't gone through that phase, but now me being a parent, if I put like obviously our kids into it, let's just say if Arsha wants to go out somewhere, if the time comes. Yes, I think it's a legit question that I'm going to ask, hey, who you are going with. But I don't think so. I mean, again, maybe our mentality is a little different. Right. And I think I would probably ask the same question to Arish too when time comes. I feel like I'm not going to be like...
But I think, again, we have seen both the side of the world, right? So if we go back to when we were dating, I think we were very flexible because our parents kind of knew what's going on and it was always a group seating. But when it came to few of our friends, they couldn't even go out with boys
at all. Yeah.
And I think that still happens, even though this is 2026, it still happens.
I mean, we don't know if it happens here or not. I'm talking about, right? This was, again...
I think that came in the questions.
Yes, so it probably happens here too then, okay.
Yeah, so it does happen, and I think things are changing. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I do take it back because I just recalled something. I know certain people, I just want to clarify, I even have heard things from here that happens, even today.
And I know who you're referring
Yeah.
to.
So
So
I'm not
I
gonna
think,
go into the detail, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, again, we're not going to point fingers at
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah.
We just wanted to share the experience and observations that we have so that way, we can give you some guidance, especially for the kids who are looking for, because we got so many questions. And I think one of the thing is it does happen here because we did get a lot of people saying, hey, why it is hard to talk about dating. And the other question that came, which we'll cover later on, is what is the age that you would prefer the dating should be allowed or should look for, like a good
Not
age to start.
allowed, right? People can
I mean,
choose
again,
kind of, yeah, but what's
because
our personal...
right. I think our personal take, and then we have some followers who are in their early 20s, and I think they must have experienced it that they were not allowed to date,
Yeah.
right? Or there was an age number, or there was some mindset. So we have seen and we have experienced parents do not allow dating, but they just wanted to go straight from education to marriage. And I think that there's a generation gap.
I feel like it's more of a communication and trust, right? It's
Right.
more than trust. I feel like it's communication. Because if you are not communicating properly with your kids, I think it's vice versa, right? Because I personally feel like even for your kids to open up to you, I think it starts from you as a parent, right?
100% agree.
Because they don't know anything. We are kind of teaching them, hey, what's out there. I feel like, and personally, again, I'm talking about my experience, but I feel like it starts within us, me and you, how we feel. Yes, again, the way we grew up was different, but we also have to understand that generation next is growing up is obviously different
Very
than how
different.
we grew up, right? And how we felt for our parents, and maybe they feel kind of in certain case same way. But I think main reason I would come out to is, again, communication, which you have to start on your side. Be open with your kids in the sense, hey, share something that you're like, oh, it's normal. Like, share, okay, fine, dating is normal. That's fine. It's not a big deal,
Yeah.
right? As long as you also have to tell them, look what you're dating. Like, you have to be obviously find a person who's safe, who's respectful, who's nice to you. Like, you have to teach
I
them
think
all
the
that.
protective thing
Yeah.
comes in a place, but I think there are a lot of questions that came in a way is, and I 100% agree with you when it comes to communication. But before even the communication comes, I think the biggest challenge that our Desi kids faces is the trust. I think there is no that strong trust build up between the parents and the kids.
But that's what I'm going back to, that how do you do that? Kids
Right.
don't know.
Right.
Again, it's a vice versa. I get that part, but I think that has to start from the parents, right? You have to have that two-way communication. It cannot be that, okay, I said so you are not doing that, right?
Which I 100%
Right?
agree. And I think, so there's two things, and I think it goes parallel, right? Like
Yeah.
the communication and the trust. And I think there is one more factor. So it's like it's a tripod, right? Like the one is trust, one is communication. The other thing is adopting the culture.
Yes.
And I think when people come, when people move to United States from India, they don't realize that there are certain values you have to leave back in India, and there are certain values you have to adopt from America. For us, we moved in our 20s. So we kind of were in a age where it was easier for us to kind of grasp what is good and what is not good. Like, what are the values that we want to adopt from US, and what are the values we want to kind of leave behind in India. And I think people who comes in their 40s maybe or late 30s, that mindset, I think it's not changing. They're still
think it's hard for them
it's
to
hard,
change.
and sometimes they're very stubborn about just no, that's not allowed. That's not our culture. That's not how we grew up with. So they want to live in America, but they want to think everything as if they're living in India. And I think that's where the trust and the communication kind of it gets shaken up, right?
Yeah.
And I think that has been a common factor. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of kids are just not able to talk to their parents.
Yeah.
That, hey, we want to talk, but you guys just put up this big wall, which we can't go past, or we can't break that wall, because we wanted to have a conversation. And sometimes it's also kids that just doesn't want to share.
Yeah.
Because again, what you said is communication, and what I said is trust. Those are the two important things that just never gets addressed.
Yeah. And I guess in that case, right, if let's just see, like, again, we came early in our age, whatever, I felt like we are fine at adopting, new the way the culture is here. Like we balance it out.
Yeah,
I'm not saying like
absolutely,
we're it's both the
you
worlds,
have
whatever.
to, right? Like that's the beauty of
Unless, or I would
us.
say at least we
Yeah.
try that we are balancing it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Nobody's
from
perfect.
there is no perfect. It's always an improvement, right? But from our point of view, I think I see it that way. That I think we balanced it very
Yeah.
well. So there are certain rituals, certain values, certain cultural thing that we have and we
Yeah.
learn in India. We kept it here,
And then we
and
pass
I
it to
think
kids too,
we
right?
wanted to pass that to the kids, but at the same time, like we had to understand and adopt what is American culture, right? Like what are the things that our kids are gonna live by.
And what's normal? What's like, oh, like don't make a big deal about certain things, or oh, like there are certain
Yeah.
things that you don't want to make a big deal about. It's okay. It's like normal. It's okay to communicate about dating. It's okay to communicate about like other things.
Yeah.
And I also feel like the more normalized you make that communication, I think kids, it's easy for them
to open up.
to
Yeah.
open up
And share, yeah.
But anyhow, I think going back to what you are saying, if the parents came in 40s, and which is hard for them to obviously change, right? In that case, maybe I feel like, okay, if the parents came in 40s, chances are kids are at least grown up a little bit, right?
Yeah,
In India and all that. So they have also seen that side
Right.
of Indian culture.
Yeah.
I guess when they come here, I feel like they should try to open up to parents. Maybe like, sometimes maybe you're more close to one of the parent, right? It doesn't have to be maybe both. Like you feel like, okay, it's easier to communicate with my mom or my dad. Maybe take that time out just to get connected to one-on-one.
Agree.
Maybe
I think
ease things into it, right?
Yeah, see, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like, you got to ease into it. So I think the way I would suggest, so for example, if there was one of the questions is like, how do I talk about dating with my parents? There was one question came in right away, like as soon as I posted the story, it came in. So I would suggest is, take everything easy. Like you don't have to rush in. Yeah, I know the young blood is, you want everything quick, but this is a big step in your life, right? It's something that you're building and sharing with somebody. So I think the best way to do is ease into it. So first, have a discussion with your parents that, hey, what's your take about dating? And if they say no dating, I think most of the kids starts resisting, or they just say,
they don't go to the next question, or they
Yeah,
don't go to
I
the
think-
next communication, I think.
Yeah, I think they just don't realize that there is a follow-up question. What is that about dating that you are not comfortable with? Instead of saying, why are you guys like this? Or, oh, this is America, or, you guys are too old school. I think that's when the friction starts. And then, the parents are like, we know more than you. And the kids are like, you're old school. I think when you ask questions like this, that, okay, what do you think happens during dating? What is the reason that you are not supportive of dating? I think there's a language I think you have to use in a certain way, and that will kind of make them very calm and collected, and they will realize, oh, well, I don't hate dating, right? They would be like, oh, I don't hate it, or I'm not against it, but this is my understanding.
Yeah.
And then you can say, hey, I don't think so. We are on the same page. For me, dating is this. For you, dating is this. I think that will help build the trust and communication, as you said. So I think that's definitely one of the reasons that we have to suggest our audience, especially the person who asked the questions, like, how do I talk to my parents, is, start a conversation before you even go into, hey, I'm dating, or I like somebody, or I started seeing someone. I think you need to build that trust.
I think like ease into it and have patience. You also have to put them into your shoes, like, hey, certain things are hard, right? As they grow older, to change. So it might take time for you to like, go through them, talk to them, but ask questions. Just don't like shut it down, or don't say, hey, I don't want to say these things, because they're not going to understand. Maybe like try once, twice. Like you have to keep trying without getting frustrated, of course.
And I think it's not going to work in first try.
Of course not. Yeah,
you got
maybe not.
Yeah, and if you're a girl, talk to your mom, ask her, hey, was dating common thing during your time, or do you know any of your friend who dated, or try to find somebody in your family who actually dated.
Or
right?
the other thing you could ask, hey, if you came here at my age, what would you have done, right?
That's a good question.
That opens up Like now she's into, now she's thinking.
She's putting herself as a teenager
Exactly.
or somebody who's in early
Yeah.
20s or
So now-
whatever the age your age
like
is.
she's
I think
out
she's
of that
gonna,
zone, and now she's putting herself
she's
somewhere
not a
else.
mom anymore. She's a single person and
Yeah.
trying to think that, if I were your age and I was here, would I have been dating?
Yeah.
Or what would
Or what
my
would I do
parents
exactly?
would have done, right? So I think you kind of have to put them in a situation where they become they start thinking
Yeah.
instead of like having those
Wall.
pre-installed
Yeah, exactly.
answers like
Yeah.
no dating, only studies, focus on graduation and this and that. And I think that will definitely
And I
build a
guess-
bridge where you can meet in the middle and
Yeah.
start having a conversation.
And I think also giving the assurance, right, that hey, like even though I'm dating, I know how important the studies are. I know how important graduating or like whatever, right? I think ensure like they know that you're not only planning to just date, but yes, like what your life is outside of dating, your career, your financial freedom. I think you have to put all that into somehow at the same zone when you are like because that and as a parent I think that would be the other fear, like hey, like okay, if he starts dating right now, what's gonna happen with the schools, or what's gonna happen with the grade, or this or that, right? Or let's see if like you break up, that's gonna affect your grade. And so I think you have to have all that ready even for yourself first before you even put it out there with your parents. Like be sure about that to begin
be
with.
prepared for those questions, right? Like, what if you guys, what if it affects your studies, right?
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be the number one
one
question,
thing.
right?
And that's a
second
legit
thing-
question. I'm
And
not
these are very
Yeah.
good questions because it affects your entire career. So I completely agree with you on there that you have to start preparing yourself before you dive into the question and answer
Yeah.
or having this conversation. And I think that's what we're trying to help you with is, even though you're a child, I think when it comes to dating, you have to act as if you are a parent, because you need to slowly ease into this generation gap that we have. You have to start building that bridge. Build the bridge first, then slowly, have them take the steps.
Yeah.
And I think that will help you not only build stronger relationship with your parents, but at the same time feel confident that, hey, you know what, I can talk to my parents. And I'm not saying every parent's going to be opening up. There are some parents who are absolutely rigid about no dating, just study, get the job, build a career, and then get married and whatever it is. So yeah, that's extreme cases we can cover, and in some cases it's gonna stay that.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, I have to take this off. I feel like at the end of the day, no parents wants anything bad for you. You have to understand that, right? The only difference is that, the way they are thinking is different. And as he said, just keep trying, right? You have to try. You have to be patient. And yeah, just keep communicating. Just don't like shut the door, or don't like, oh, I don't want to talk to her or him because this is what they're going to say. And yes, they're going to probably say that. But maybe every time you try, the answer might change a little bit, or they would at least start thinking again. I'm like, okay, fine. Like he's saying this, maybe she's saying this. As a parent, maybe they're thinking too. Who knows, right? So just keep trying. I think that's the other thing. But find a ways to ease the communication into
agree,
it.
100%. All right. So next question we have is the fear of judgment.
Fear of judgment.
Yeah.
By
so
who? Parents?
No, the society.
Society. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that question came, and I think we had similar kind of a question that, hey, I'm dating, but I'm not opening up to my parents because I'm afraid they will be against it because the judgment from the society. Log kya kahenge, the thing, the typical thing that every Indian child would ever always hear, whether it's studies or education or anything, is what is the society is going to react to it, like within the group and all that. So what's your take on that one?
Well,
I know you, so that's why I gave you the question.
so personally, me again, and I guess you're the same way. Yes, society does matter, no doubt about it. But when it comes to something, I truly believe that, hey, you're not harming other people. As long as you're not harming other people or anything, you're doing anything wrong, they shouldn't matter as much as my kids' happiness.
Agree.
That's what
100%.
I believe in.
Very well put. And as you said, we are very similar in that case, but I'm I am very different. My mindset is very different, right? So I never cared about others if you're not my immediate family. Now the kids, right? And we do have close knit circle, right? And during that close knit circle, we do have difference in how we see certain things, whether it's dating, whether it's education, whether it's career, a lot of things. That does not matter to me in terms of what happens between four of us, right? And I think that's the one thing, again, going back to your point about communication and building trust, is you have to make sure that you have that rapport with your parents. If your parents is way too stuck on society and they are very easily influenced by others, it becomes very difficult. So I wouldn't hold back on sharing with your parents. And again, you can take the first tip that we gave, that start slow, start easing into it, talk, build the rapport, build the trust, and then slowly kind of introduce the person and then say, hey, I'm dating and all that. And again, if you're way too concerned about what others are thinking, I think indirectly you're harming yourself and your family.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if you are happy and your parents are okay with it, I don't think so you need to let the outside noise affect you. And it's not just dating, it's any aspect of your life,
Yeah.
whether it's education, whether it's career, your business, anything you do in your life. I think there is a lot of noise around us. You should never let that affect
Yeah.
you. You should always focus what's good for you. As far as you said, it's not harming others and it's not making others' life difficult. I think your right to talk to your parents is a must. It's your right. You
Yeah.
gotta talk to
And
your
I
parents.
guess when, again, you have to gain this, right? The trust thing.
Yeah.
So in that case, I feel like when they are explaining you something, say, yes, I understand, right? Like, acknowledge
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
What
yeah.
happens is sometimes we don't even say anything back, saying like, oh, like whatever, like I heard it, whatever. But you
I
have
think
to
the response, that what you're trying
give
to say is
response.
the
Like, don't
positive,
like
the
just say,
acknowledgement.
yeah, like, okay, fine. Like, yeah, I agree. Like, I understand, mom or dad. Like, I understand what you are saying. I completely, like, I get it.
Yeah.
But my view is this way, right? Like, this is what I think.
I think this is where the corporate language helps us, right? Like that when your parent says, but what about the society? What do you think the other's going to think? Don't just jump in, say, I don't care about
Yeah.
them. I think you got to say that I completely understand where,
Where
you're coming from.
right? Yeah.
And that's a corporate language, right? So you got to understand, you have to acknowledge and say that, yes, I understand where you're coming from, but that person has X amount of effect on our day-to-day life. So
Right.
what they're thinking, do you really think matters the most?
Yeah.
I care about what you're thinking.
Exactly.
So you kind of give them that, put them on a pedestal, saying,
And no,
I don't
and
get-
you're not lying when you're doing
No, you're
that,
not,
right?
you're
Because
not.
for you, anybody,
But
the parents
they
are
have to
obviously
make
the
them feel that.
right.
Yeah.
I think you don't say that. That's the thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
People don't say it. Say it that, hey, you matter more for me than society, and which is, I'm 100% sure it's true for almost everybody, right?
Yeah, like that movie Three Idiot, right? When
Yes.
he says that, Sharma ji kya sochte hain, usse mujhe koi fark
Yeah,
nahi
yeah.
padta. Like, I don't care what the others are
But I
thinking.
think the thing is,
But
you have
don't
to
start
say it.
with that.
Yeah.
Say it that the thing that matters the most is what you're thinking. What your feedback or what your approach is. Like, it matters to me what you're thinking, and don't worry about the society.
Yeah.
Once we figure it out how we are feeling, then we will think about society and
Yeah.
we'll go that route. But I think that's how you should definitely take the approach. I would highly recommend talk to your parents. Don't just avoid talking it, because ultimately that's going to make a crack in your relation and it will just drift you apart instead of bringing you close. So that's definitely something I would suggest. Next up, generation gap and age expectation. So generation gap, they grew up in a different world. Dating wasn't born there.
Which we kind of cover.
We kind of cover, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's, again, you go back to asking questions, why do you think it's bad?
Yeah, like,
Or,
put put them in your, put yourself in their
in
shoes.
their shoes. And I think the other thing that people can do is, if you have a cousin or somebody in your family who, dated and got married and has a successful marriage, even if it's a distance cousin, I think you should start with their example. So, for example, hey,
So-and-so
XYZ,
did
so and
that.
so. Remember how long did she dated, or he dated, or what are they doing? Just talk, start a conversation asking, like, what are they doing? How are they doing? What are they doing? I think that would just give them a comfort that, oh, we're just having a normal conversation. And then slowly say, hey, what's your take, if I start dating and all that.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely something you can ease into. So I think age gap is kind of we covered, but
Yeah.
definitely wanted to like bring it up because that was one of the questions. The next one is the age expectation. Some parents genuinely think 25 is the earliest you should ever think about dating. Meanwhile, your classmates were going on dates at 15. So what's your take on that? Okay. I think that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, again, there are
Each
some
to their
parents.
own, right? Yeah.
There are some parents, they wouldn't even believe in dating. They just wanted you to get married at 25. So everybody's different. But I would say every household, it's a different process, different thinking. I think it this way, that as far as you're mature enough to understand that if you are not graduated from college and you haven't started working, I think your number one priority should be the education. But at the same time, as far as you know that you can handle a relationship that's not going to affect your career, then go for it. I think that's
a nice way to put it.
Yeah. Because a lot of people think there is a number that needs to be there. And every kid matures at a different age. There are kids who are extremely mature at 16 or 17. There are some who are immature at 20. So I don't think so the age is the right way to see it. I think the maturity and how your relationship is with your parents and how much you on your own can handle it. It's a lot of things you have to manage. Let's say if somebody wants to start dating in high school, you have to prepare for your SATs, you have to prepare for your grades, your college applications. You want to make sure you want to get into a really good college. Now, during this time, if you have a bad breakup, that's going to affect
no matter what you say, right?
No matter how much you want to date and how much you want to do that, but that's going to affect. Now, if you don't go in your preferred university or college or wherever you want to go, it leaves a mark in your brain. So when you go to the second or third tier college that you preferred or you picked, it's always going to stay in the back of your mind that, oh, I wish I would not have dated, or I wish things would have been different. It affects and impacts your education, and it has a long lasting effect. So I think as far as that, hey, even if I break up during my high school years or in between, it's not going to affect. I'm going to be focused. That's very separate. That maturity takes time to come. So I think that's what you have to be honest with yourself before you even go to your parents. I think that maturity needs to come within you, that you have to understand that, I think I can manage it. I will be able to manage it. I'm not going to let this affect, because it has a very long lasting effect. So I don't necessarily put a number. I would say it's more of a self-awareness, self-maturity. That's where you have to look for.
Agree. I agree. Yeah.
All right. So we prepared about 5 different tips on talking to your parents about dating tips, right? So number 1 is start small. When you introduce somebody who you're dating as a friend first, let them build that rapport with your parents. So introduce them as a friend, bring them, make it as a routine that you hang out, and try to hang out in a group so it becomes a little bit easier than slowly into like one-on-one. Have them come in, talk to your parents so they already know the person before you introduce them. I think the wall comes down at that time. If you just bring somebody and say, hey, I'm dating this guy, I think it kind of gives them a shock. And a lot of things starts rolling in your mind.
Because then at that point, they don't know who they are, right? So, I feel like it's always easy when you introduce them as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, obviously, take it to the next level and all that. But
I think that's what you have to do.
Tip number 2, use relatable examples, right? So as I think that also we covered, just to catch up, bring that cousin who got married, who dated and all that and has successful marriage, or a friend or somebody, like just bring them in a conversation, just as a normal, normally that you are talking to them. So I think make this whole thing not a big deal, but just casual talking.
The next tip is highlight shared values, emphasizing on you're still considering culture, family values, and respect. So I think the value that you grew up with, right? So you tell them that, hey, I haven't lost the values that you provided to me, right? At the same time, the person I'm dating, no matter who they are, I'm gonna keep our culture alive. If you're dating somebody outside of your religion, or you're dating completely non-Desi person, you can tell them, hey, we're exchanging different values from both the sides. So we want to make sure that we understand each other's culture and we respect that. And I think that is number one. A lot of parents are very resistant to that. So you want to give them that assurance that, hey, don't worry, I'm not just going to turn into a completely different person for somebody else. I have my own identity, and I'm going to share my values with this person and learn from them also. So it's like evolving. So you give them that assurance, confidence that, hey, just because I'm dating a white guy, not necessarily I'm going to forget everything about Indian culture. You're going to, continue having those values, those rituals, the traditions that you grew up with. And I'm going to educate that person too.
Mm-hmm. And vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So you adopt.
And you adopt, yeah. And then you learn from them, yeah.
And tip number 5, timing matters, right? So like, don't just like bring something up and like read the room, right? That's how I think I'll put the easy. Like when everybody's in the mood, or when everybody's having a fun or something like that, when you think, okay, this is the perfect time, I can just talk it out, but it's not gonna make a big deal at that point. If somebody's angry or somebody's going through an argument, don't bring anything up at that point, right? Mellow it down, wait for the right moment.
All right, now we are going into our fun segment, this or that, the dating edition. So, number 1, arranged marriage or love marriage?
Love marriage.
All right. But parents' approval, no.
Of course.
Yeah. I just want to, because there are people who are like, I don't care about the parents' approval. I'm just going to marry, right? So that's the one. All right. Second one, family dinner or dinner dates?
Wait, what? Family dinner or dinner dates?
Dates.
What do you mean?
So would you prefer to have family dinner, or would you prefer to have just like dating between like couple, husband and wife, having more family dinners that you look forward to, or would you look forward to a specific dinner date between husband and wife, or you're dating who else you're gonna go on a dinner date?
So now this is before or after? I'm so lost with this question.
How are you gonna have a family before you date somebody or get married with somebody?
That's why I don't get the question. I'm so lost.
After marriage, would you be looking forward to a family dinner, or would you look forward to a dinner date?
I think both, I guess.
I mean, yeah, but what is the...
Okay, this question doesn't make sense.
Okay, never mind. You failed this question, so it's okay.
Too complicated.
First date at a Starbucks or an Indian restaurant?
What the? First date at the Starbucks?
Or Indian restaurant?
I think Starbucks.
Okay.
Because it's like date though. First date.
Date. Yeah.
Or casual meeting. Why Indian
I'm not saying
restaurant?
casual. I literally put it on first date at a Starbucks or Indian restaurant.
Why Indian restaurant? Okay, fine, Indian restaurant.
I would go Starbucks. I would have less pressure.
True.
Because it's first date, right? Like you just want to have like...
But why would you put Starbucks or that one?
That's the trick question. That's what makes it fun.
I would
Because
pick
you
some
don't
other.
understand. If you go on a restaurant, I think I would go on a restaurant, whether it's Indian or not Indian, I think maybe like a second or third date. After I know the person.
Yeah, I think the Starbucks is fine.
Starbucks is like more,
It's like
it's like less
minutes.
pressure. It's not too formal. It's like just
Yeah.
does the vibe matches? It's
Yeah.
kind of like testing the water.
Yeah, like I don't
I
want to
think
spend a
Indian
whole hour or
restaurants,
two
exactly.
stuck there. What if I
That's
I
what I'm
don't
saying.
enjoy
Like,
it?
you
Yeah.
can just say, hey,
Yeah,
I'm
I
done
think
with
let's
my
just skip
coffee.
Starbucks.
Yeah. See? You learned something. Okay. Keeping relationship private or going Insta official?
Private.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Unless you look good in pictures.
Yeah, but then I'll just post mine.
Yeah, I agree. I think keep it private.
Yeah,
Don't just
until
go.
like you are, yeah.
Yeah. I think unless you know that this is going in the right direction, don't make it public. Keep it within your family. Keep it private. But yeah, don't go like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to follow us on our Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Mirch Masala Marriage, the podcast name. And if you wanted to know about our life, the fun things that we do on day-to-day life, then follow us on @thepatels USA on Instagram, @thepatels on TikTok, and @thepatels on YouTube.
Also, make sure you go on our website, Mirch Masala Marriage. Post the questions that you have so we can cover it for our next episode.
www.mirchmasalamarriage.com. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.